Hi folks, Tim with ABC Acres here in Hamilton, Montana. It is Wednesday, August 21st, and I'm coming to you from our living fence project that we planted in May of 2017. Check out the link to the video at the end of this video and get a full introduction to that planting scheme and what took place to understand the framework for the benefits of planting a living fence over maintaining a conventionally built fence and the long-term costs associated with it over a 25, 50, 100-year life cycle. I am standing, or I should say I'm kneeling. I'm kneeling along a fence line of 800 feet where we planted an array of different plants, only 12 to 18 inches in height, bare root. Again, May of 2017. It's August, so what is that, 14 months? 14 months approximately since we planted them. And you can see what has taken place in that time frame. Here I've got a black locust, we have an English hawthorn, another black locust, again, 8 different varieties of plants. But over the course of that period, you can see we have growth rates of anything from 2 feet to 3.5, 4 feet tall, out in an exposed area with very little predation by the surrounding wildlife, specifically the deer. Elk haven't come in yet, but they will. And you can see here on this black locust here, there's been some nibbling. But why don't they nibble the whole thing? Well, we've got an inch-long thorn here. Can't see too much in the hawthorns here, but they're loaded with thorns. So when you think about context and design, how do we design to minimize the impact of the natural wildlife? We have seen some tremendous growth. And what if I told you that in a 4-year period, these trees can be 12 feet tall? Do you believe that? Well, I'm going to show you that now, that it is absolutely true. And that in a 4-year period, you won't see this fence. Before I show you just how quickly these plants can grow in this cold temperate climate over a 3 to 4 year period, let's just quickly go down the fence line here and showcase the success rate we've had based on a 1-foot incremental planting in an exposed area to a heightened deer population. Here's one example of what we have in that living fence. Sea buckthorn planted in the spring of 2014 as a little tiny whip, 2-3 feet tall, maybe a 1/4 inch in diameter. And here we have now a 10-12 foot large shrub out in the middle of the opening for deer and elk to graze. But again, very thorny, very unpalatable from their standpoint. Imagine now if you just cut this at the top and continue to let it grow out laterally and expand its coverage. I'm 4 or 5 feet from its internal trunk. We're on 1-foot centers in that living fence, if you remember. Just imagine how impenetrable this living fence will be in a period of 3 to 4 years and for 100 years hence. Pretty cool. Let's take a look at another one. So here's another example. Black locust. This one's been allowed to grow into a tree. Again, planted 2014. And not pruned up in any way. 16 feet, 17 feet, 5-inch caliper trunk. Imagine these on 1-foot centers. Pruned to 8, 10, 12 feet tall. Big, shrubby, impenetrable, fast-growing hedge. To me, it beats rebuilding a fence every 10, 12 years and the upkeep year to year. Let's take a look at another example. Oh, by the way, this is Cargo, the farm cat. One of 4 that we enjoy. I wanted to throw this example in as an opportunity within your living fence system. This is an autumn olive. In certain parts of the country, it can be very invasive. In a dry climate here, it doesn't aggressively spread compared to other climates, but it's not really palatable to the deer. They don't care for it. So here we have something that was planted in 2015, 3 years ago, and it's 7 feet tall, 6 feet wide, and could be a really nice addition to a living fence system. And from a standpoint of getting that spread, I don't think an aggressive planting is all that negative. Again, pending your context and how you want your management system to play out. But for us, an autumn olive would be a welcome opportunity. So what you're looking at here is a piece of artwork that I had created that I showcase on the farm that highlights the living fence system. ABC Acres has a collection of these educational kiosks throughout the farm highlighting different projects. But as you can see on this living fence kiosk, up towards the top center we have our individual little plantings on 1-foot centers. And then through multi-year stages, as it grows out, how we chop it, how it formulates out to a larger hedge of height and width, and in the end there, dead center left, where you can showcase how an impenetrable hedge comes into play for both livestock and wildlife control. Beyond that being of a lifetime control for livestock and wildlife, it also acts as a habitat for birds. It produces fodder or berries for their consumption. It also acts as a wind screen and a privacy screen should there be anything less desirable on the other side. Down at the bottom of the kiosk highlights the varieties of plants that we've put in from a standpoint of identification. So I hope you enjoy this, and this could be one aspect that you could utilize as a starting point for your design. So those are some pretty extreme examples of what just can take place in a 3-4 year period. So as we prepare for these to get to that height in a similar time frame, we're going to treat it a little differently. We're going to take off the top quarter of these every spring. And what that's going to do, rather than create the vertical, they're going to go up more laterally. And so they'll start to weave in together. And again, on foot centers, it's not going to take too long before we have a thorny impenetrable hedge at a very low level, while we obviously try to take this to 8 to 10 feet over the hole. So pretty exciting. We'll check back with this next year and just show progressively how this project plays out. Thanks so much for watching. Good luck with your projects. And as always, if you have any questions, leave them below. We'll get back to you. Have a great week. Thanks, guys.